Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, traders. Steve here at Logic FX Trading. Welcome to our daily FX analysis on Thursday, the 14th of October, 2021. Let's just start with yesterday's economic calendar, guys. We were looking forward to core inflation rate and inflation rate in the United States come in slightly hotter than expected, and then with the FOMC meeting minutes. Now, what happened after this was that the dollar dropped. Now, we did say it looked like we were in an ending diagonal and the DXY could drop from there, guys. It's not always clear, not always obvious. You know, you get what normally would be information that would make the market believe that interest rates are going to go up or tapering is going to come in. But for whatever reason, maybe they felt it was already priced in. Dollar started to drop, guys. Now, what we've got to do is determine whether this is the start of a downward movement over the next lot of weeks in the dollar, or whether it's just a quick pullback before we continue on the trend that we have been in. At the moment, I don't really know, so we're just going to have to hold our horses. Now, before we go over and look at that, let's just look at today's information. Employment and unemployment in Australia come in slightly higher than, lower than forecast, even though the employment change, which is minus 138k, was slightly above forecast. Now, I'm not entirely sure how that's worked out, guys, but there you go. A little bit of a mixed message there. Now, this is minus, employment change minus, so that's 138,000 jobs lost. But they've just, remember, this is for last month. They just opened up again in Sydney. So I imagine next month's figures will be a lot better. Okay. And then inflation rate in China come in at 0.7% for September, forecast 0.9. Okay. Not a lot to write home about there. Let's go over to the charts, guys. We'll just go through these quickly today. We'll try to go through them quickly today. No change on our outlook for the yen. Still think there's more downside to it. If you're looking to trade any yen pairs, then you're probably going to have to look for a pullback. We're getting a little bit of a pullback there, guys. DXY, the big story of yesterday. This is the second time I've tried to record this, guys. Computer crashed on me. I'm going to have to. Well, it's not your problem, but I'm having computer problems at the minute, guys. So we were 20 minutes in and it went blue screen of death. Right. So this is on 4 hours. Let's take it down to 1 hour, guys. What we actually drew yesterday was, I said, divergence, possible ending diagonal. We've had this move up and we're going to get something like that. And that's exactly what we got. Now, I'm kind of hoping that that's it. It could push down a little bit more, maybe break that. And then there's the trade. There's the direction to trade it in. Now, we don't just jump in and start trading it long from there, guys. You're going to have to allow it. If it's going to do this, you're going to have to allow it to push up and give us maybe a little setup, and then off we go again. Because we don't know if this is the start of a deeper move down. I don't think it should be, but you don't know. You never know, guys. And look, you don't want to get caught on the wrong side of these things. Look at that one there. We came up quite nicely. At this point, we probably would have been looking for a bit of a pullback, and then off you go. Maybe that was it, and then bang, 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 bang. 2-3 weeks later, before it starts coming up again. So you need patience with these things, guys. You're not going to get them on the button. You are going to get them in the wrong direction, and therefore you do need to use small leverages, guys. Big leverages will scare you, unless that's what you're into. So what does that all mean? Well, we've got the pullback in the euro that we expected. There's our ending diagonal. Up it's come. Let's see where it gets to. If it's a change in direction for the dollar, which I don't think it is yet. Remembering we're looking for the dollar to go short at some point, and we have been. Just getting back to this, guys. We have been from, we got this, and then we said, the dollar will go flat here, or it will correct, because that was it was a fifth wave there, guys. So it's come up into the area of the fourth wave. Okay, so you wouldn't be surprised if this was a turning point and it moved back down into this sort of area, maybe even just down to there, to give us this this channel. But I do think eventually the dollar will drop, because it's and that was the forecast for the dollar, not my forecast. That was, who was it, Goldman Sachs or someone come out with that a long time ago, way over here somewhere, guys. So we just put it in to give us an idea that we could possibly break that. But if the Fed were to move first, when it certainly looks like they're going to move before Europe anyway, then that's the reason we got this. Now, what I'm wondering is, just like with the New Zealand the other week, the day that they increased their interest rate, we got that, I think it was that August? Maybe it was that. We got that big drop in the New Zealand, guys. So it's a lot to do with timing. Is it already priced in? It doesn't look much in 4 hours, but you get into 1 hour with a bit of leverage on there. That's a horrible move, guys, if you're in it in the wrong direction. If you're in it in the right direction, then fantastic. You should have a nice trade on. Put your stop to zero and see where it gets to. But I am looking for a bit more upside to it. But, this could come off. Often what we say about ending diagonals is that they can retrace 50%, guys, of the impulse up. So if I'm going to call this the impulse, well, you know what? For me, that's the impulse from there. 50%, bang on. Because that's all one wave, guys. And that's, listen, there's what we're trying to look for. I know I'm dwelling on this, but this is important, guys. Impulse, and it's usually a fifth wave, guys. So it's the fifth wave that you're measuring. And then that breaks that, and that breaks that. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves within your fifth wave, and then you get a 50% retracement. Now, if we go back to this, it's not the whole wave. The whole wave is not the fifth wave. This is possibly a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this is the fifth wave. And I know that didn't break the top, guys. But, Elliott isn't exact. It's about looking at something and saying to yourself, do you know what? We've got the divergence down there. We've got an impulse there. We've a slowing down of the movement up, which is why this is diverging from, that's going that way, that's dropping off. That's the end of your fifth wave, and then you get a 50% retracement. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly 50%. It could be more, it could be less. But generally speaking, that's what you get. You go back over here. This one didn't quite work out. But yet again, there was an impulse up, guys. Pull back up. And at that point, I was looking for a 50% retracement. We didn't get it, pushed on up, and then we got a nice retracement. But you can see the structure. Sometimes they'll not do exactly what we're looking for, but you do eventually get a retracement. And we measure that. You measure it from there. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth wave. I remember this one isn't. Yet again, 50% retracement from there to there, guys. If you want to pull it a bit further back down, then it's not quite 50%, but for me, that's the start of the fifth wave, if you're going to count that as an impulse up. And then this is an extension of it. 50% retracement, guys. Now, remember, we're not talking about exact here. We're talking about, we're trying to pick up information. We're saying to ourselves, probability, add everything together, and then you come up and you say, right, I think that's it, or that's the start of it, or whatever it is. Now, if this is going to continue to drop, and we don't know whether it is or not, I don't think it is, but if this is going to continue to drop, then this could be the start of the reversal. In other words, you've come up, you've reached your high point, and the reversal is going to come deeper. it'll come right back down. In other words, it'll retrace that whole move, guys. In which case it could come down into that. If that's a fourth wave, it could come down into that area. Or if that's the height for the dollar, and there's no one suggesting that it is, but if that's the top place for the dollar, then this could be the start of the retracement of the dollar over the next lot of months, guys. And that would all depend on whether the market believed that whatever interest rates are going to come from the Fed over the next few years are fully priced in or not. And I don't think they are. We'll have to see what the ECB does, guys. If the ECB starts to hike rates, then you'll see the dollar topping out and starting to drop. But we're not there yet. Okay, let's move on. So, euro pushed on up, looking for it to drop at the moment, guys. Pounds pushed on up. Yet again, pounds caused me problems today, guys, because ECB said they're looking to hike interest rates at some point to control inflation, but there are so many other issues in the UK economy that whether they're going to pull the trigger or not's another thing. So we'll have to see about that. Aussie pushing on up, still looking for this to run flat, guys. At the moment it's going up. Maybe it comes into there and then we get a drop from there. We'll have to see. If it breaks that, then maybe we're talking about something else. New Zealand, same thing. Nice push up. Would have been nice to have traded that yesterday. Maybe I should have. I don't mean that one particular. I mean that DXY drop. CAD, there's the push down the dollar again. Swedish, there's a push down. Much deeper than what I was expecting. When we were here, we were looking for a little pull back from there. To see that set up there, guys. Pull back into there, and then maybe we continue with this. Maybe we continue with this. But that's quite a move, guys. It's the biggest move we've had against the dollar in a very long time. Let's pose over there, which was June. But at that point, would you have expected it to go on and push on up, guys? That's the thing. So it's entirely possible that this stalls out here and then gradually comes back up again. We don't know yet. And through that period there, we'll be, we'll not know what's going on, guys. Because unless it were to suddenly reverse like that, but if it's going to, run something like that, it's going to be difficult to tell where it's going next. Because through there, you could obviously be looking for something like that. So it runs like that, for a few weeks. We're going to not really know what direction it's going in until it either starts doing that or it drops out from there. So it's throwing me up a little bit of a conundrum here. A little bit of a tizzy. Dollar yen. We've been looking for a pullback on that to maybe give us a setup for another leg up, guys. I'm a little bit concerned that that's the same length as that, because generally that's what you get whenever you get a zigzag. If it's going to be, an impulsive move, although those two are impulsive, but I mean the structure all over, it's going to be an impulsive move. Generally speaking, you'll have a third wave that's much longer than the second wave, guys. Those are equivalent length, and that concerns me a little bit. Unless it's going to turn out that this is a 1, 2, 3, this is a fourth wave, and then you get that, and then you get your correction, then you get a fifth wave. So we'll have to see. Now, isn't it interesting that the dollar has weakened significantly against all of these, and yet against the yen, it's just hung in there, guys. There's no big move short in there. That shows you the weakness of the yen at the minute. US Swiss, now look at that move. Yet again, guys, is it a zigzag? And is it complete? Let's just take this. Oops. Move it over there. It's pretty close. This could taper off here and start a march, continue the march on up, guys. Let's see. Gold, well, gold broke out eventually. I'm so glad of it because I'm exposed in gold. So what next for gold? Well, the downside to this move is that this is almost the equivalent of the move short in dollar, guys. So it's not that there's some great big movement into gold. It's just that the price of the dollar, the amount of gold you can buy for a decreasing value in the dollar pushes the price of gold up because you got to spend more dollars to get it at the same price. So I'm not sure that this is necessarily something that's sustainable. Given that structure, we were looking for that, but with the big question mark. And what would the reasoning be? Well, the reasoning is the dollar dropped. So if the dollar continues to drop, then this will continue to go up. But if the dollar stalls and starts climbing up again, the odds are this will start to drop again, guys. So all eyes back on the dollar. Now, obviously, that's what I'll be focusing on today when I'm reading up and listening to Bloomberg and whatever else. I've also got a subscription to the Wall Street Journal now, courtesy of eToro. When you get to a certain level of investment, they give you a free subscription. Can't complain about anything, it's free. And there's the move up in silver, but yet again, it's the equivalent of the move short in the dollar. So I'm not going to get overly excited about that. Bitcoin, yet again, remember we're measuring against the dollar. That could have been because of the dollar. Now, my opinion on these things, guys, is that they're here to stay, and they will probably increase in value. But as we've gone on and on about it over the last few weeks, it's the money you make is all about the price that you pay. And you pay too much, then you don't make money, guys. You lose money. Buy a house at the top of the market, you'll be stuck with it for years with negative equity. It's the same with trading, guys. If you buy at the wrong price, you could be stuck with it. So unless I see this coming off, now, one thing it could do, and we've said this a few times this week, it could potentially hit there before coming off and give us a big, complicated running flat, guys. Running flat? No, not a running flat. A big, complex flat, guys. So we'll have to see, but I'm certainly not going to invest in Bitcoin for that. But if it comes down to there, I may well get into it and let it run to see if it's going to break out. But obviously, if it were to come back there again, you'd have to run your stop losses up, guys, or your stops up. Ethereum, same story, a little bit of a break up there. Yet again, it's against the dollar. Therefore, it could be the dollar weakness that's pushed that up. Wouldn't be surprised if it came to there or there, but the place to buy it's back down here if it ever gets back down there, guys. Oil staying strong, going to continue to get strong. Euro CAD continuing to strengthen. But yet again, this is one of those trades that you needed to be in up here somewhere, guys. Remember, we're on 4 hours, so you're not going to see a lot of detail. But this is one of those trades. If you were in from there and actually managed to stay in it, you'd be doing really, really well, guys. Euro Oz. So the odds continue to strengthen. Euro New Zealand. That's continued strengthening in the New Zealand. Thought we would have got a bit of upside to the euro yesterday with the drop in the dollar. There you see it there. Remember the this chart with the dollar come up and it's just sort of hanging around there. With the euro, we got the breakout, and that was because the dollar dropped, guys. So they got that push out. We were looking for a bit more of a setup, but it's pushed on up. Yet again, if you're in it from here, or even if you got in it there, I wouldn't have got in it there without a pullback. Off it's gone. Euro Swiss, and there yet again weakness in the euro, strength in the Swiss, possibly because the gold price moved, guys. We weren't entirely sure where it was going. Just I don't know why I put an arrow in. And then pound CAD. Listen, it will hit a bottom somewhere, and then it will start to come back up. And at that point, we'll trade the pound, but not at the moment. Pound Oz, same thing with that, guys. Pound New Zealand, same thing with that, guys. It will hit a bottom, and then we'll start to trade it back up. Pound Swiss, it will be short as well. Oh, that's interesting. Thought that would have spiked down there. Pound Euro, well, that's the Euro. Oh. Pound Yen's pushed on up. So, yet again, guys, it's turned out as a little running flat. It could almost have been an ending diagonal there. Do you see it? But it didn't go, guys. You're going to have to look for a pullback if you wanted to get into that. But that's interesting. Pound CAD, well, I suppose it did strengthen against that. It's just the New Zealand that weakened against. Strengthened against the Swiss. Strengthened against the Euro. Strengthened against the Yen. Why will that not come up? Let me pause you a second. Okay, don't know why they froze up there, guys. Clearly, that's not the place to try and go long, guys. You're coming into there, so right. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on the pound. Oh, Aussie Yen. Yep, just continuing on up. We were looking for a setup, guys. Possible ending diagonal there. Look at the divergence. Pointed it out yesterday. Maybe it drops from there and then gives us a setup. Now, we're looking for this. What we're saying yesterday is that this could just continue to push on up, guys, without giving us a setup. But there is a little bit of a pullback there, which is good. But I'd like to see, it developing a little bit more. And eventually, I think it should break out long, maybe from there somewhere. Maybe it runs flat for a while, guys, and then starts to go. And just looking at this is quite impulsive. And see, if that was a nice 1, then you could say, well, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But it's not a nice 1. So you start counting from there, 1, 2, 3. But then that third wave looks a bit short for me. See, sometimes Elliott, see, they're equal again, guys. I'd like to see a bit more downside to this, and then we'll see where it goes. I don't think it's a 5-wave impulse. Aussie Swiss. Well, the gold price going up is good for both of these. I'm not entirely sure where this is going, guys. Maybe it pushes on up. I certainly won't be trading it. Aussie CAD. Balancing each other out at the minute. Gold's up, oil's up. Swiss Yen. Well, there you go. Off we go again. We were looking for a setup on it. Didn't get it. Well, that was it. And it's pushed on up. Let's see where we are, guys. Obviously, the place to get in was way back down there. It's in this channel. Now, we haven't had an impulsive move like that in a long time, guys. But you see what happens after you get an impulsive move. You're going to get a correction. That's what we're looking for. And then it starts to go again. Really, you're going to look for a lot of weeks or something like that, guys, and then we'll look to see if we can trade it up again. If you don't get that, don't be trading it. Unless you're already in it, then it's up to you where you take your profit from. But nobody likes to see things coming back down. CAD Swiss, yet again, this is one that you should have been in down here somewhere, guys. We're just wondering if maybe you get a setup to go further along. I don't like trading those things, guys. I like to trade things from a, when you've had something like this and it starts coming along, pulls back, maybe from there hoping for an impulse, but you're just kind of stuck in it. The chances are you'd have been stopped out. Certainly you wouldn't have let that go into the green there. And maybe you get in here again. Sometimes they're just tough to get into, guys. I was in this. Remember I told you last week, and I got out for a 0. I think I got in there. I think that was it there. Got in there, came up, came back down, stopped me out, and then off it went. That would have been a nice trade there, guys. I don't do pips. I look for percentage moves, guys, because pips is just nonsense. Where's the measuring thing? Shows you how long it is since you use it. Is that it there? Measure. Where did it say I got in here somewhere? .8% with leverage. Could be as high as 18% or say half that, 9%. Or 132 pips. The amount of people go, hey, we got to, move 132. No, you didn't get a move 132 pips. You didn't trade that and get 132 pips out of it. That's nonsense. Anybody that tells you they got an exact pip is talking nonsense, guys. First of all, when you get into it, you never get exactly where it is. You've got fees to pay. You've got all sorts of things to pay. And you usually chicken out before it gets to the top. So, nonsense. Not only to do it once. Say if they said it once, hey, we got that. But it's this week we got 465 pips. No, you didn't. What the hell would they be doing on the internet if they were getting that every week? CAD yen. Excuse my language, folks. But the amount of BS on the internet is unbelievable. I didn't know such a large amount of unscrupulous lying toads existed in the world until the internet came along. CAD yen. Looks like an ending diagonal. There's your divergence. I know they've got that little spike in the end there, guys. This could well correct. So I wouldn't be trying to trade that. If it were to give us a correction and everything else stayed the same, oops, that's a worry. There you go. I've got it down to a T, guys. You're looking for a correction, something like that. I'm not saying trade that, guys. I'm just saying there's the possibility, because it could be a running flat and it could push on up. But when you see something like that, you got to be wary of it. If you're already in, possibly take your money, because it might well do something like that. I'm going to do that and then maybe do that. But if the oil price were to come off, then you may well see a reversal on this, guys. I don't know any reason why the oil price would come off, by the way. And there you have it again, guys. At one point, this looked like an ending diagonal. Look at it. You see it? And then it took off long. So it turned out it was a running flat. That's the reason that you don't try and trade that short from there. But what we do is we look at it and we go, well, if it does that, then that would be a place that would be interesting to get involved in it. Can you trade it long from there? Well, you can, but I wouldn't. New Zealand yen, same thing. It's taken off, maybe running flat. Maybe it's going to continue on up, But as with usual, guys, you're going to have to wait for some sort of setup. And so why do you wait for the setup? Because you don't know where it's going to come. And it could come today. And today's the day you buy in. And then you go through this. And when it's doing that, you have no idea if it's just going to do that and go, or whether it's going to run and run and run and run. And now you're not sleeping. Okay. So wait for the correction and then go as it breaks out of it. New Zealand CAD. A little bit of a push back there in the New Zealand. What we were saying was, if we got a breakout here and a setup, in other words, if it stayed out here for a little while and then gave us something and started to go from it, maybe we'd start to trade that up. But yet again, the only reason I would say that that would happen would be if the oil price started to come off, guys, and there's no sign of that yet. Let's go and look at oil. Oil's just going up and up and up, guys. So unless OPEC does something. Now, yet again, we're not saying it's going to do that. We're just saying that if it were to do that, then we would look for a trade long. And then New Zealand Swiss. I was looking for this to drop. I'm surprised that it's pulled back because the gold price is pushed up and it's pushing on up a little bit more there. So that's quite surprising. There's been a strong move in the New Zealand over the night, guys. I don't know the reason it's happened. Usually I find out about what's happened. There it is again. So there's been a strong move in the New Zealand for some reason. It happens in the middle of the night for me, guys. So usually the day that it happens, I don't know what's going on until later on. But I'll need to get these out. But I like to get these out before the American Open, guys. Okay, that's it for the day, guys. A little bit not sure today about things. So when you go through a period like that, guys, you just got to hold tight. We've forecast a few things correctly, but it isn't in the direction that we wanted to trade. And so let's see what happens for the rest of the day. Okay, bye for now.